गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री Gurave Namaha. We are in Vivek Chudamani Upadesh Upasamhar, and this is the conclusion. And these are the final words of advice by the teacher to the student who has come to be established in his own essential nature. And it begins. Life goes on after realization also. On one hand, but vision changes, but life goes on. So some words of advice, and what are they? Iti natamavalokkya vishishya varyam samadhigatatma sukham prabuddha tattvam. इति न तमवलोक्य शिष्यवर्यं समधिगतात्मसुखं प्रबुद्धतत्त्वं प्रमुदितहृदय सदेशिकेन्द्रः प्रमुदितहृदयसदेशिकेन्द्रः पुनरिदमाह वचः परं महात्मा पुनरिदमाह वचः परं महात्मा इति न तमवलोक्य शिष्यवर्यं समधिगतात्मसुखं प्रबुद्धतत्त्वं प्रमुदितहृदयसदेशिकेन्द्रः पुनरिदमाह वचः परं महात्मा. In this manner, after having realized the blissful self and the truth behind it, when the worthy disciple saluted the noble Guru, he said with a cheerful mind these great words to him. In the previous two verses, he had said, in the last verse, I think, Namastasmai sadekasmai kasmai chinmahase namaha yadetad vishwarupena rajate guru rajate. He said, Namastasmai sadaikasmai kasmai chinmahase namaha. Salutations to you, O my teacher, again and again and again, who are that only because of your guidance and your effulgence, which is pure existence and one only, and yet appearing as the multiplicity of the world. So all the experiences, positive and inclusive and exclusive, I should put it that way, that he narrated in the last 15-20 verses, 30 verses. Here he says, all that was possible only because of you, because apart from you there is nothing else. This is the realization. Same thing we see in the Sri Guru Stavana of Amrit Anubhav. This is that exalted state from where the vision is that of unity in spite of multiplicity, and that unifying principle is the Guru Tattva. So with these salutations, here Punaridamaha Vacha Param Mahatma, the Guru Maharaj, with a Pramudita Hridaya, with a happy heart, not taking the student as a competition to him. You know? Remember once we told you Swamiji had gone to Germany, and in Germany he stayed with one yoga teacher, and that yoga teacher had a problem. What? That she was the first one to introduce Iyengar yoga in Germany, and then she did lot of training, and those whom she trained, they started their yoga studios. Then she started train the trainer. That also so many people did. They also started train the trainers, and now all others were busy, but she was empty. She was not having any students. So this complaint, who can come? Who can make? Who is in competition with his own students? But here it is not so. The someone who I was teaching chanting, only after 2 classes, they say, Swamiji, what about your Guru Dakshina? I said, Brother, you haven't even learned one stotra properly. And you want to give Guru Dakshina. Guru Dakshina will be that you master this Vedic chanting. You want to give Guru Dakshina. Yeah. Because probably they are running a course. They are used to giving money everywhere. But here it doesn't go down the throat because everything is free. So we feel, oh, I can't take it free, I can't take it free. Why you can't take it free? There is abundance in this creation. So here, unlike that teacher, here the teacher with a pramudita hridaya, with a cheerful heart and mind, punaridamaha vacha param mahatma. The Mahatma, the Guru Maharaj, said these words to him. What did he say? Brahma pratyaya santadhitir jagato. What is the tune? Brahma pratyaya santatir jagato brahmaiva tat sarvataha pashyadhyatma drusha prashanta manasa sarva swavastha swapi. Correct, got it. Brahma pratyaya santatir jagadato Brahma pratyaya santatir jagadato brahmaiva tat sarvataha brahmaiva tat sarvataha pashyadhyatma drusha prashanta manasa pashyadhyatma drusha prashanta manasa sarvasvavastha swapi sarvasvavastha swapi रूपादन्यदवेक्षितुं किमभित रूपादन्यदवेक्षितुं किमभित चक्षुष्मतां विद्यते चक्षुष्मतां विद्यते तद्वद्ब्रह्मविदः सतः किमपरं तद्वद्ब्रह्मविदः सतः किमपरं बुद्धेर्विहारास्पदम् बुद्धेर्विहारास्पदम्. Together, Brahma pratyaya santatir jagadato brahmaiva tat sarvataha pashyadhyatma drusha prashanta manasa sarvasvavastha swapi रूपादन्यदवेक्षितुं किमभिता चक्षुष्मतां विद्यते तद्वद्ब्रह्मविदः सतः किमपरं बुद्धेर्विहारास्पदम् बुद्धेर्विहारास्पदम्. He says, oh my dear son, okay, I will read here. My dear son, being at peace by the vision of the self, come to experience in all states that this world is essentially Brahman alone. Therefore, it is ever the Brahman in reality. A person with normal vision looking around, can he see anything else except colors and forms? Similarly, for the one who has realized Brahman, for him everything cognized through the intellect, can it be other than Brahman? How beautiful! Who is being addressed here? Who is being addressed? The mind of the seeker who has come to establish in the self. Having established in the self, that mind made all those verses of the previous section because it couldn't contain itself. That same mind is being given these final words. And what is that? Brahma pratyaya santatir jagadato brahmaiva tat sarvataha. Brahma is, this entire world is nothing. Brahmaiva tat sarvataha. That Brahman is everywhere. There is nothing else apart from the Brahman. It is one alone. And then he says, Pashyadhyatma drusha prashanta manasa sarvasvavasthasvapi prashanta manasa. With your, so prashanta manasa, prashanta is ashanti, shanti, prashanti. Ashanti is agitated mind, shanti is settled mind, prashanti is that settled mind which is beyond settled and unsettled mind. Meaning, it is this prashanti is the transcendental state. It is one with the self. It is one with Brahman. It is not at the level of mind. At the level of mind is shanti, ashanti, and prashanti is beyond the mind. Prashanta manasa. The mind can become quiet. Mind, what is the material out of which the mind is made? What is the material out of which the mind is made? Is it other than Brahman? Is it other than the reality? No. As long as, just like here the example that is taken is Rupa danya dave kshitum kimabhita chakshushmatam vidyate. With your physical eyes, what can you naturally see? A normal person, when he sees with his eyes, can he avoid colors and forms? He can't. See, eyes will illuminate everything. But what is the intellect? What is it convinced? It is convinced that this world is real for a normal person. That this world is real. That I am born in this world. That there are people here. There are colors, forms, shapes, objects, time, space. So when the eyes, the five senses, when they move around and the mind through them goes and interacts with the world, it sees what it is convinced of. It sees what it is convinced of. Does it have any other choice? If we are convinced that life is all about satisfaction of our desires, that is the way our mind will go, through the senses. If the intellect is convinced that we have to do sadhana, then our senses will automatically be withdrawn. They will be ever alert not to get involved in anything. Just like now, everyone is alert about corona. So that alertness is required on the path of towards the self also. That alertness. With every breath you have to be alert. So here he says that tadvad brahma vidah satap kimaparam buddher viharaspadam. Buddha is the intellect. If that intellect has dissolved itself and come to realize the truth, the self, then what can it, when it goes out and sees through the mind and the senses, can it see anything else other than the truth? It is not possible. Similarly, for the one who has realized Brahman, for him everything cognized through the intellect, can it be other than Brahman? Because now the Brahman, the intellect, is awash with reality. The whole, even the thoughts that are erupting, even the thoughts that are erupting in the intellect, the concepts which were there, everything in the intellect, whatever it was convinced of, we'll just take it as all the thoughts and emotions. And it is the intellect which determines this is a man, this is a woman, this is sky, this is earth, this is water, this is tree, this is animal, this is day, this is night. It's not the senses who make this decision. It is not mind which makes this decision. It is the intellect which makes this decision. And having dissolved itself, just like when we go to the Gangaji in Haridwar, we take a dip in the Gangaji, and when we come out we feel purified. Similarly, this intellect has taken a dip in the Brahman, and having taken a dip in the Brahman, it is awash with Brahman. It realizes that there is nothing else other than Brahman. This is the shift that has come in the intellect. And when it starts thinking, when it starts seeing through the mind and the senses, what it sees there? It sees only Brahman. In fact, for that intellect, intellect is also Brahman, mind is also Brahman, the senses are also Brahman, the world is also Brahman, Brahman alone. See? So in this manner, this is the first instruction given by the Guru Maharaj to the realized student. And what does he say? So in all states, there it says before that in all the three states, he sees nothing but Brahman, whether it is waking, dream or sleep. He sees himself, he sees the infinite reality functioning through and through. Even so, this is what does it mean? It means after having abided, come to realize the self, the waking, dream and sleep will still be there. The name and forms will be there. The body will be there. The mind will be there. The senses will be there. We are not able to understand. Yes, nobody can understand Brahman. But then what will happen now? That this yogi, this student who has come to be established, he is unaffected by anything. We get affected, we create relationship, we create an association, we get attached. We think of something. Understand this. We think of something, only that which is other than us, separate to us. Then alone thought appears in the mind. And we take the ownership of the thought. I am thinking, I saw, I heard, I think, I am convinced. But now, once you are forever convinced that you are Brahman, now what else you will get convinced about? So the teacher says that Pashyadhyatma drisha prashanta manasa, having seen, having had the vision of the self, having been abided in the self, the mind becomes, meaning the intellect becomes absolutely calm and quiet. It does not want any more convincing. It doesn't have any more doubts. After that, all seeking is over. After that, all duality is over. So it is not afraid to come out and express. A Nirvikalpa Samadhi person is escaping into meditation again and again because he doesn't want to get caught up in the world. But this seeker, he is not disturbed anymore. Prashanta Manasa. See how beautiful. Sarvasvavasthasvapi. In all conditions. Prashanta Manasa. What are the conditions? At any time, at any place, at any time, with anybody, in any situation, he is ever Prashanta Manasa. Can we be like that? So these are the pointers we have to practice. If this is what it is going to be for the seeker who has come to realize, why not start practicing now? Not be disturbed, ever remain a happy disposition. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. People only love to be in company of happy people. Nobody wants to be in the company of complaining and miserable people. They may go to happy people only to download everything of all their miseries, but they seek happy people. Nobody by choice goes to miserable people. Who goes to miserable people? Who feels, oh, poor fellows, I have got so much, they don't have anything, let me be of service to them, let me take care of them, let me give money to them, let me do this for them, because then their ego has come up, sattvic ego, that I am better than them, I am better off than them, I have got a better mind than them, I am happier than them because I have got everything, I don't have the disease, I have the health. So you feel you are superior than those miserable ones. We are not talking about that type of person. We are talking about a happy person. In all situations, he is happy for no reason. Why? Because his mind has taken a dip. His mind has dissolved in the self and then come back out. Just like our mind dissolves into the sleep, and when it comes out is refreshed, ready for the day. Exactly the same way, when this mind of the seeker, or our mind, we are also all seekers, when it takes the dip in the self, has the glimpse of the self, has the vision of the self, that very moment it gets completely rejuvenated forever. Such a person doesn't know what complaining is. Now he does not seek. Seeker was seeking realization to end all misery. Why did he do that? Because scripture said so. But now, having gained, having realized there was nothing to gain, he was already that. We saw that in the previous verses, so many of them. Having realized that I am already that which I was seeking. So, really speaking, there was no journey required. Yes, there was no journey required. Then for whom is the journey? Journey is for the one who feels that he is limited. Journey is for the one who feels that he is not happy for no reason. Journey is for the one who still sees differences in this world. Journey is for the one who still has a sense of otherness, who is still caught up in birth and death, who is still caught up in this body, who is still a slave of his mind. See? And we are that. All the points that I said, they are applicable to us only. See? So we must seek. Even though we are, we must seek. Till this urge, till this click doesn't happen within us, that what I am seeking, I already am. Continuing in the 423rd verse. Kastam paranandarasanubhutim Kastam paranandarasanubhutim Utsrujya shunyeshu rameta vidwan Utsrujya shunyeshu rameta vidwan Chandre mahahladini deepyamane Chandre mahahladini deepyamane Chitrendumalokayitum ka icchet Chitrendumalokayitum ka icchet Kastam paranandarasanubhutim Utsrujya shunyeshu rameta vidwan Chandre mahahladini deepyamane Chitrendumalokayitum ka icchet. Which intelligent person will ever get enjoyment in these cheap worldly objects, leaving aside this supreme bliss of homogeneous experience, when the extremely pleasing full moon is shining forth in front of one who will desire to see the painting of the moon? This is our lot. The ignorant ones, here it is spoken of in the passive way, kastam parananda sanubhutim utsrujya shunyeshu rameta vidwan. Which intelligent person will get enjoyment in these cheap worldly objects, leaving aside this supreme bliss of homogeneous experience? At this present moment, if you are not already eaten dinner, and if I take the class another half an hour, 45 minutes, you will stop being available to the satsang. Your mind will be going, when is this fellow going to stop? Doesn't he know we haven't had our dinner? Because we have become habituated that whenever our desires are satisfied, we become happy. So our happiness is dependent on desires. And desires are always, at this moment, for the ignorant person, his desires are always about the world, about the name and form, what he sees, touches, hears, feels, tastes. And if not all this, what he ruminates, imagines. You see? So this intelligent person like us, so here the teacher is telling the student who has come to realize, he is telling him in the passive state, that which intelligent person, normally we see that only when we interact with the objects and when our wishes are fulfilled, if I don't get sleep tonight, I will not be happy. This is our state. And if I oversleep in the morning and I miss my train, then again I am miserable. So I find ways and different reasons to become miserable. And we become miserable only because we are given value to the finite. And we are seeking happiness from the finite. And this is the way of the ignorant people. But you, O student, my dear son, you who has come to have the vision of the self, have taken a dip in the self, your mind has taken a dip in the self, will you go back to the old ways of living? Don't make that mistake. Now you must continue to see what that everything. Previous verse he told that everything is Brahman alone, everything is the reality alone. Your example is taken Chandre Mahahladini Deepyamane, just like the full moon gives ahlad, cools us after a hard toil of the day. At night it cools the earth, it cools the people. Just by looking at it you feel so refreshed at night, huh? And gives that cool light. Deepyamane Chitrendu malo kayitum kaichet. When you have got the real moon shining in the sky, giving you the beautiful nectarine moonlight to cool you down, will you choose to watch TV and see the moon in the TV and feel cool? So here when it says Chitrendu malo, will you prefer to see the full moon with beautiful colors on the canvas? I use the word TV because that's what we do, no? So ignorant people leave the original moon and they enjoy the canvas, they can enjoy the scenes on the TV and they feel happy. But the original they are missing. Are you going to be like that, oh my dear son? Having had the vision of the self, are you going to which and what is the self? What is that reality? Where all desires are satisfied in toto. All at once, all the desires are satisfied. Meaning that you do not have even an iota of desire left to fulfill in the mind because it has taken a dip in the self, in the reality, in the infinite. See? If that has given you that much solace and joy and happiness and tranquility and cooled you down from the miseries and afflictions of the world, are you going to go back to the world of finite and try to seek happiness from it? No. So, in other words, he is telling us, the seekers, that our obsession towards the world to satisfy ourselves by way of relationships, by way of associations, by way of contact, by way of attachments. Put in a nutshell, by way of desires. Yes, okay, mind has a desire. It has come. I never said that I want desire, but it has come. Okay. Direct it towards the truth. In life also, we move from that which gives me little happiness, I move to that which gives me more happiness. Then I go to even more happiness, something that gives me. Just like in the waking world, I go from different places. I go to work because it is required and I feel happy. Whole day I cannot stay at home. But eventually I come back home because it is my place, it is my bed, it is my chair, it is my family, my house. It gives me more happiness. But all this happiness which you kept searching for yourself to be happy in the waking plane, eventually where do you get the happiness? In sleep. You don't get that. The quality of happiness that you get in sleep, you can never get it in the waking state. Impossible. By interacting with the world, you will never be able to get that quality of bliss which you get in sleep by interacting with the world. That intensity, that depth of bliss, that effulgence of bliss, that contentment that you get in sleep, that you can never get in the outside world. See? But all these, for that you have to put so much effort. And even after putting efforts, you are caught up in their whirlpool, going in and out and in and out and in and out and in and out. And sometimes the same thing which gave you great joy, after some time doesn't give you the joy. This is the nature of the world. A great friend of mine is, oh my dear, we are so Langotia yaar, we are friends forever, we commit for each other. And after some days he doesn't listen. He says, I don't want to do anything with you. A couple commit their whole life to each other, and after a few months, after a few years, as if we don't know what has happened, they can't stand each other anymore. And then they want to separate after marriage. But first few days, it's not love, that is not bliss. That was lust, that was passion, that was desire. Understand this. That same desire, that same passion, and that same lust we are having towards all the objects of this creation. And we are seeking that joy, that bliss out of this, satisfaction of these desires. So here the teacher is telling, recognize you are falling short. You can never satisfy by running after the world which is made of infinite number of finites. You can never make yourself satisfied. So why not you go to the source? And once and for so much efforts over the last so many decades, we have put so much effort. He's telling the student, I am putting words to it, that you have put so much effort. If you put even 10% of that effort over the 40, 30, 40, 50 years that you have put towards the commitment to know the self before the last breath in this life. And we are not waiting for the last breath, because last breath can be the next one. So which means you come into the moment. I am going to give it 100% now, 110%. Once in life only you have to do that. And if we can do that, and we get the vision of the self, our mind takes a dip in the self, merges into the self in meditation, in samadhi, or naturally, in natural state, it's permanently like that afterwards. The whole, now it cannot think. The mind cannot think anything else other than the infinite reality. Wherever it sees, just like wherever the individual sees, it sees only differences. Wherever this mind which has dipped into the reality, wherever it sees only one. And therefore a warning sort of is given to the student that once you have had the vision of the self, don't let your mind go and seek this trifle of happiness from the objects of the world, from the experiences of the world, from the contacts of the world, from the relationships. Do the drama there, but ever remain established in the self, in the bliss that you are, because you have already experienced it. Okay? Just like a person, don't be like a person who is not becoming available to the original moon in the sky, but is happy seeing the picture of the moon on the canvas inside a room. Oh, how beautiful painting, how beautiful painting. असत्पदार्थानुभवेन किंचित, असत्पदार्थानुभवेन किंचित, न ह्यस्ति तृप्तिर्न च दुःखहानिः, न ह्यस्ति तृप्तिर्न च दुःखहानिः। तद् तदद्वयानन्दरसानुभूत्या, तदद्वयानन्दरसानुभूत्या, तृप्तः सुखं तिष्ठ सदात्मनिष्ठया, तृप्तः सुखं तिष्ठ सदात्मनिष्ठया। The experience of the unreal things neither grants contentment nor removes the miseries. Therefore, having attained contentment by the experience of this non-dual self, abiding in this eternal self-realization, may you remain blissful hereafter. This is the blessing, this is the Ashirvad coming out of the mouth of the teacher. What is that? The experience of unreal things. Asat padartha anubhavena kinchit, na hyasti truptir na cha dukkhahani. Asat is all that which is untruth. What is untruth? What is untruth? That which only appears momentarily is untruth. That which has a beginning and end is untruth. That which is continuously changing is untruth. Contrary to that, the truth, it never changes. It is birthless and deathless. It is not created nor it is destroyed. See? So asat padartha, objects. So asat, unreal, padartha, objects or things, anubhave, experience, na kinchit, do not experience. And even experiencing the na hyastri truptirna, and even if you experience them, your experience is that they can never permanently satisfy you. They can never permanently give you contentment, nor can they permanently take away the misery. We eat food, we get content, but by afternoon again we want food. Then again we eat food, again we get fulfilled, but after in the evening again we feel hungry. This is asat padartha. This is asat padartha. And just not this food. With everything it is like this, including this body and including this mind, including the thoughts. See? So, the objects of the world do not have the capacity, the capability to give us happiness, nor to give us remove the miseries. See, in the spiritual journey, why we want to go? Sukha prapti and dukkha nivritti. So here the words given is trupti. Truptir na cha dukkha hani. Neither it gives me trupti is contentment, and neither it gives me contentment, nor is it able to take away the miseries of our life. What is not able to take away the miseries of our life? The seeking of untruth, the seeking of or the desire for the world is not able to give us permanent contentment. Temporary, yes. temporary, yes. And that is why we are running after this world. More, 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 more. Why? Because we have not shifted attention from where is this bliss coming from? Is it in the objects of the world? Or is it in my nature? Is it my nature? So what happens when the desires are satisfied? When the desire is satisfied about anything in this world, our mind becomes empty. The desire from the mind is deleted. It doesn't keep saying, I want food, I want food, I want food, I want food. Once the food has gone into the mouth, into the tummy, then now the desire for food has gone away. When the desire has gone away, it is contentment. That is happiness. So, was the happiness in the food, or was the happiness your nature, but that happiness, that contentment could not express because it was covered by the desire? Once the desire went away, the happiness which was there, it automatically comes forth. Think. This is why we come to the satsang, to change our notions of life. Think in a different manner, which is beneficial to us, so that we are not slaves of this world anymore. Tad advayananda rasanubhutya, and therefore having attained tad advayananda, the bliss of non-dual self, rasanubhutya, having experienced the nectar, rasa, the juice, the nectar, having experienced the nectar of the non-dual truth, the non-dual bliss, advayananda, non-dual bliss, trupta sukham. A person is happy and is standing or established in happiness and contentment. See? Sadatma nishtaya. Sad atma nishtaya. Atma nishtha is established in the self, is abiding in the self. Having abided in the self, having established himself in the self, then contentment and happiness are his own. Now he doesn't need to search it anywhere. He doesn't need to seek it anywhere, or from anything, or in any place, because our conditionings are time, space, objectivity. So we seek happiness at a particular time, in a particular place, from particular objects. All this conditioning, which this wrong pursuit dissolves. Tad advayananda rasanubhutya trupta sukham tishta sadatma nishtaya. Therefore, having attained contentment by the experience of this non-dual self, abiding in this eternal self-realization, which the student has already attained, he is just reminding him that don't deviate from it. Don't start giving undue importance to the world again. Don't start giving undue importance to time, space and objectivity. After realizing, now that you have tasted the self, you have abided in the self, had the vision of the self, now you don't say, oh, let me see my astrological chart, let me see what is going to happen in the future. People do, and they miss the plot. This is what happens. people go into samadhi, come out, and because they are still taking the world to be real. If you have experienced the self on the seat of samadhi, then after coming out of samadhi, how can we take the world to be real then? Somewhere is something amiss. And that is where Vedanta comes in, the knowledge comes in. When we have gone into samadhi with with an escapist attitude, that this world is too much, and you are gone into I want to go into a cave, and you go into your own cave, and you go into samadhi, cave of your heart, you go into samadhi. So he says, may you remain blissful thereafter. Now, bliss is your nature. You don't need to seek it. You don't need to wish it. You don't need to aspire for it. You don't need to desire it. Because you are bliss incarnate. See, what a blessing. May Shankaracharya, Adi Shankaracharya, whose texts we are reading, studying, Vivek Chudamani, may he bless us. He is blessing us at this moment, because most of you, from the beginning of this text, you have been there. With commitment you have been listening. स्वमेव सर्वथा पश्यन् मन्यमानः स्वमद्वयम् स्वानन्दमनुभुञ्जानः कालं नय महामते स्वमेव सर्वथा पश्यन् मन्यमानः स्वमद्वयम् स्वानन्दमनुभुञ्जानः कालं नय महामते. He says, O wise one, see how beautiful, Mahamate. The teacher is no longer saying, oh my dear son. He is not saying, oh dear student. He is not saying, oh seeker. He is saying, oh wise one. Now there is a recognition from the Guru Maharaj. Now he sees the student also of being of the same caliber. Of seeing him, that the student has also got established in where he is established. That recognition is bringing these words out. O Mahamate. How beautiful. O wise one, seeing oneself everywhere and recognizing one to be non-dual, thus remaining in the experience of blissful self, pass your time in this world. Our Anubhavanandaji Maharaj, he continuously says, time pass, life is a time pass. His itinerary also is called Time Pass 2020. 2021. Now, see, it says time pass. It doesn't say itinerary of Swami Anubhavananda. No, time pass. Mahatmas through their life teach us. When it clicks, here it is told, do all, wherever life is placing you, perform. Wherever an actor is placed in the play, whether he is a king at one time or a beggar at another time or a servant at another time, or an employer at another time, he will remain employed by the director only if he performs each role perfectly, isn't it? Otherwise, you lose the job. Similarly, wherever life is placed us, here it has placed us as a teacher and a student. After that, it will be as a father, or as a husband, or as a wife, or as a professional, or as a employer, etc. Every moment, some role has to be played. It's automatic. Play the role. The actor who is on the stage, this is one of the chapters in Panchadashi, Natakadeep. It comes from Karnataka. Karnatak means do the drama. Karnatak, do the drama. And what is the drama? Do the drama of the roles perfectly so that you can be employed by the Lord to get His work done. And how do you perform your roles perfectly? Without getting attached to your role. Let it happen. Remain in the moment. What do? We perform the role and we get attached to the role. If that role is taken away, if you are demoted or promoted excitement, demoted depression. Today you are a husband, or a wife. If the husband goes away or the wife goes away, oh, I had spent so many years with that person. It was my... do the role. Cry. But don't become disturbed inside. Don't become disturbed inside. See, one lady was there in Sydney, and this lady, she is seventh Dan in judo. You get, red, yellow, blue, brown, black belt, black belt 1, black belt 2, black belt 3. I don't know how many more goes. And then 1 Dan, 2 Dan, 3 Dan, 4 Dan, 5 Dan, 6 Dan, 7th Dan. To reach that level of caliber in judo, you have to be very spiritually evolved to reach that point. And she used to be the what you call, referee at the Olympics. Now she's retired, but she used to be there. And few years ago, her second child came under her own car wheel. 1.5 years old, 2 years old. She was distraught. But today I see her. I went and saw her immediately after 3-4 months. After that again I went and saw her. After 1.5, 2 years she conceived again. She had another child. Yes, the pain is there. But because of that strength of character, because of the mental training that she had as a judo master, she is the master of all masters at that caliber. Pain will remain, yes, but it is not able to rule her life anymore. Life moves on. But we are here, little bit, 40 days we are inside the house. Oh, I want to go out. We look at one person, oh, I am in love. Few tits, bits, few disagreements, I want to divorce. This is not life. This is not life. So here when he says, O wise one, seeing oneself everywhere, after having the vision of the self, having taken a dip in the reality, having merged yourself, your whole being into the reality, and then again the phenomena of mind comes back. Now, with that mind, see the one everywhere. Don't maintain the duality. Don't insist that I want to see the differences. It can happen. Just like when we come out from the sleep, have you noticed? When your mind is so quiet and at peace with itself, sometimes you can't even stand straight. You are in the bliss. You have to take hold of something because you are so intoxicated, your mind has not clicked into activity yet. And then slowly it starts getting into activity. Maintain that moment of bliss in spite of the activity by not getting attached to activity. So he says, seeing oneself everywhere and recognizing one to be non-dual. So the word sarvatha means all the time. What are you saying? स्वमेव सर्वथा पश्यन् मन्यमान swam advayam. That everywhere you are seeing the self alone and you are seeing yourself also as that non-dual self. This transformation in the vision has happened. See, don't we tell the children when the child comes that I did not do well in the exam this time and this. No, you will pass. I know what it takes. You have what it takes. You are focused. You are intelligent. You are smart. I have seen you studying. You pump that child up. That child is complaining, I can't, and you are saying, no, you can. Haven't we all done to all the children, our children? So when it comes to our spirituality, why we become negative when it is difficult? Everyone else you inspire. Yes, you can do it. Go for it. I'm there to support. Why don't we have that attitude towards ourselves? Look at your mind. Hey mind, go for it. I know you can merge into the reality and avoid sleep. Go there, I'm watching. And literally, you are watching the mind. Literally, you are watching the mind. Just like when we say, you are watching that every day, waking, dream, sleep, come and go, come and go, come and go. You have been the watcher, you have been the witness of the three states. So if you make this statement that I am watching, hey mind, come on, nothing is going to happen. Take a dip. Seeing oneself everywhere and recognizing one to be non-dual, thus remaining in the experience of blissful self. So, ever remain in this uncaused bliss. Uncaused, important. It is not because of something that you are happy or blissful or content. Because it is your nature you are so. And ever reveling in it, ever abiding in it. Pass your time in this world. This is what every realized master is doing or has done. They don't want anything from anyone. They are self-sufficient because whatever they are seeking, they are. is the journey of the self to the self in the self. An ignorant person is seeking the self in the son, or in the daughter, or in the wife, or in the husband, or in the darling. See? Or in the heaven. No. Is journey of the self to the self in the self. For the self, if you want to add. This is only an idea in our mind that I am not realized. It's the biggest lie. From Vedantic standpoint, everyone is already realized. Then why can't I experience the bliss of self-realization? Because you are obsessed with the finite. Drop the obsession with the finite, there you are. Drop the obsession with the finite. And where does the obsession with the finite begin from? It begins from body identification. So how do you drop the obsession with the finite? I'm just one thought. The whole text was about that only. How do you drop the obsession with the finite? Simple. Refocus from the finite to the infinite. And where is this infinite you are focusing on? It is none other than the self. Initially it is a thought, it is an idea in your mind, but that idea represents, that thought represents you, the real you. Infinite is not an object of cognition. Finite is this is a book, it is finite, I can cognize it. This is a camera, it has got a dimension, I can cognize, it is specific, I can cognize it. But the self, it cannot be cognized by the same means by which we cognize the world of dimensions, because self is without dimensions. And there also you have an experience. The space, it is infinite. You cognize it, you say, oh, it's there. Think. Come to the Swanandam. So, Swanandam, in the bliss of the self. Bhunjana kalam naya mahamate, thus remaining in the experience of the bliss of the self. Pass your kalam naya mahamate, O wise one, pass your time. Mahamate literally means one with the great mind, because he has come to realize, no? And one with the great mind is not he is an intellectual. The one with the great mind is whose mind has taken a dip in the waters of realization. In the olden times, when roads and transport was not there, when a person used to go to Kashi or pilgrimage, when they left the home, people it used to be a big event, because nobody knows whether they will come back or not. How do you cover 500, 1000 kilometers where there are no roads, jungle along the way, tribals, dacoits, language is different every 100 kilometers. And if that person went to Kashi or to some Badrinath, Kedarnath and managed to come back to his hometown, oh, it was an even bigger celebration. It was an even bigger celebration. Mahamatehe. That mind which has got the guts to drop the finite world and seek the infinite being, the infinite reality, has gone there, taken a dip, had the vision, and again come back. Mahamate. Before it was only Mati. Now it is Mahamati. See? Isn't it a person who has studied his medicine and this and that or any other management, and then when they go to Harvard or Cornell or Stanford, and from there, or IIM in India, and when they come out and they pass, oh, he's the elite of the elite. He's done what was impossible. He's got the best of education. He's a cut above everyone else. Why? He's gone there, man. How did you manage it? How did you do it? We also tried, but we never got there. One person was there here in Melbourne. 3 times he tried to become a dentist. He is from India. He's got his surgery there, 2-3 surgeries. And he came here, young family. And first time he gave exam, he didn't pass. Second time he gave exam, he didn't pass. Then the rules changed, this, that. Oh, he used to come and tell. Third time, he passed. Persistence, commitment, not allowing. Yes, doubt did come in his mind. Is it worth it? Is it worth all the money that I have spent 3 times? And the effort and the time, and I am not able to run the surgeries in India by not being physically present there. Is it worth all this trouble? So many doubts, but he put them aside. Now I set a goal for myself. Go for it. Everything else will manage itself. And he did. And he passed. Just the other day, Swamiji, please tell me, should I buy this surgery? So now he wants to buy a surgery. See? So doubts will always be there. But are we having the guts? Are we having the courage? And that will come from inner strength. That will come from confidence. That will come from, are you having the clarity of the goal that you should pursue? Or are we just one of the millions, billions on this planet who are just चल रहा है धक्का देके, just living like everyone else. One day we were born, I don't know why. One day we'll die, I don't know why and when. What did you achieve? I don't know. It was a waste of life, I think. I couldn't become. I thought I will be happy if I travel. I thought I'll be happy if I get married. I thought I'll be happy when I have children. I thought I'll be happy when I'm retired. But that happiness is never coming to me, man. Everything I tried. Then where does it come? Get drunk every day. That is liquid spirituality. Or take drugs, even a bigger shot. This is the drug of all drugs. Mind wants something. Give it the ultimate drug of the self. Give it the ultimate intoxication. After drinking which, after dipping into which, it cannot shake off that intoxication. It will ever remain in that. How beautiful. That is Swananda. That is the divine intoxication. Swananda. And in remaining in that Swananda, remaining in that bliss of the self, pass your time in this world till this body is going to live. For the ignorant ones, the Mahatma has a body. From the Mahatma's point of view, everything is the self alone. Just like for you, in the dream, everything was nothing but the mind, isn't it? The space, air, fire, water, earth, people, trees, mountains, lakes, mosquitoes, sadhana, realization, no realization, thoughts of every person, life in every person in the dream was nothing but your mind. When you wake up, you can come to this conclusion that yes, everything was in my mind only. So that means my mind was pervading everything in the dream, the inert and the sentient. Exactly the same way. The realized master who has woken up from the waking plane into and abiding in his own self, he sees that everything is nothing but a play of the mind, and that mind is nothing but pure consciousness that I am. And thus the bliss. So no insistence anywhere. Insistence, the word is duragra. No insistence in this person. We have an insistence that I am only this body. I have an insistence that I am a husband of this wife, or I am a wife of this person. I have an insistence that these are my children. Break that shackle. That does not mean that I am the husband of all the wives. No, that does not mean that. It means like Ammaji. She considers everyone as her child. Herself has none. But she is a mother, universal mother for everyone. Even people older to her go into her arms, they feel the motherly love. For us, our love is my children, my love, other children, hey, don't ask me. For them, a different treatment. For your own, different. Whoever you have taken as your own, it is a different treatment. Those who do not come into the definition of own, it is indifference towards them. And this is how we limit ourselves, break the shackles, and come to abide in the bliss of the self as given in the Vivek Chudamani. And here he is saying that once you have experienced the bliss within, even in meditation, if you have experienced the bliss, don't make it because I was in meditation I experienced the bliss. No. Understand that you experienced the bliss because that bliss is your nature. And what happened was mind stopped thinking, mind stopped desiring, and that which was your nature came to the forefront. If that is the case, and once we become convinced of this by experimentation, by proper analysis, sit down and just not either you get convinced right now because that is the only way, or you take this thought and contemplate over it, write down what you have understood, and the conclusion should be the same as the master's, not your own. If your conclusion is contrary, then somewhere in your thinking you have gone wrong. स्वमेव सर्वथा पश्यन् मन्यमानस्वमद्वयं स्वानन्दमनुभुञ्जानः कालं नयमहामते. O wise one, seeing oneself everywhere and recognizing one to be non-dual, recognizing yourself to be non-dual, thus remaining in the experience of the blissful self, pass your time in this world without getting attached, without getting harboring any desires, without coming down to the level of duality and then multiplicity. Such a person lives in the bliss of the self in spite of the multiplicity surrounding him. Eyes will see colors and forms, ears will hear the sounds, but this person's attention is on the self. Just like as terrible or as exciting the dream may have been, once you wake up from the dream, what is the value of the dream for you after you have woken up? What is your value of the dream? That it was a figment of imagination of the mind, isn't it? Similarly, Mahamate, the one who has come to abide in the bliss of the self, for this person, even the waking is a figment of imagination of the mind. So therefore, as much value we give to a dream, which is zero value, same way this person gives zero value to the waking also. Just like you are completely available to the waking person right now and not giving value to any value to the dream person, similarly the one who has woken up from the waking dream, he gives value to the original one, not to the waking person, nor to the dream person, not to the sleep person. And therefore he is experiencing the Swananda, the bliss of the self. This bliss of the self doesn't come and go. It continues. We'll see the next part in our, from verse 526, we'll see it in next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Let's sit quietly for a minute and then next class will be tomorrow, 7:30.
Thank you, Swami.
No, thank you. Sit down quietly for 1 minute.